Ladies and gentlemen, please accept my warmest greetings from Kathmandu, Nepal. And thank you, Professor Vijay Kumar sir, for such a lovely introduction. And I would also like to thank you all for your precious presence for today. And my topic for today is effective teaching and learning amidst pandemic. Whatever subject we teach, but we are teachers after all. That's why this teaching and learning is very important, I think. So in this presentation, I'll share about 9 to 10 tips, okay? So this is the time we had experienced never before, and maybe we'll experience never again in our lifetime. So students are in trauma, teachers are in trauma. I have heard the news about Maharashtra also. It has become the epicenter of India, and so much worried about you. So this presentation might, a little bit sympathize or solace, give you solace. So first of all, survey students about tools and platforms. Go construct your class. Favor asynchronous approaches.
Presentation mode.
Go low-tech and mobile-friendly. Lower your expectations. Share your story. Offer support and resources. Then create opportunities for students. Also think about the differently able students. And
sir, just a minute.
Self-care and
sir, just a minute. Please press F5. F5.
Okay.
Go in presentation mode.
All right, sir. So
Right. Okay.
is it okay? So these are the highlights of my presentation. I'm going to elaborate each point now. First of all, survey students about tools and platforms. Find out which technologies they have access to and comfortable using. Some of them are familiar with Zoom. Some of them are familiar with only Messenger or WhatsApp or just Google Meets or Microsoft Teams. Whatever the platform, students are familiar to. Students don't have problem to use. So just survey that. Then understand students' opinions. So this is difficult time. I mean, unlike the traditional classrooms, it shouldn't be like one-way traffic. It should be like two-way traffic. So take their opinions. Be frank while trying a new technology that you are not sure it will work. Even if you are using newer technologies, be frank, right? Don't boast or brag, but be frank of your limitation. And connect to students and cultivate a sense of community. So let them feel that they are not robots, right? They are human beings. So try to create some connectivity. And my next tip is co-construct your class. Means students are also stakeholders. That's why involve them. Give students some control over their learning. It can help combat feelings of helplessness in the current circumstances. So it will enable them to be in the system, to share the power actually. and be collective in making decisions about deadlines for outstanding assignments. Unlike in the face-to-face class, you may not be very rigid about setting deadlines. And favor asynchronous approaches, not synchronous. Asynchronous means different timetables or routines, but most of the universities and colleges have been following the same routines, like 9 to 4, for example. However, all students might not have free time during that period because they have to perform different duties. They might have to take care of their elders or younger siblings, or they might have to arrange this Wi-Fi facility. So try to change the routine and make it more flexible. Find ways to accommodate students who can't join at the given hour. Means try to facilitate those. You can set different time zone for them, different time duration for them. Record your lecture so that you can listen it later, and you can share it to those students who missed the online class, direct class or live class. Share their responses with the class the next time you met. And when they send you the reflections during off hour, you can share those with the class next time. Keep students feeling like a class rather than scattered individuals, as I emphasized in the beginning slide also. Then go low-tech and mobile friendly. If possible, try to facilitate them via radio and TV also. I mean, there's a digital divide, and maybe Maharashtra is no exception, though this is the most prosperous state in India, I think. Still, there can be many communities who don't access powerful signals of Wi-Fi. Be sensitive to students with limited data plans or weak Wi-Fi. Choose open textbooks that enables downloads. Similarly, consider what it would be like to complete it on a mobile phone. So as far as possible, try to give the tasks that can be done with mobile applications. Think about the student data privacy considerations of any products you are signing up for. And what's about the radio and TV, the alternative of online education? And lower your expectations. Be flexible with deadlines. Offer alternatives if someone can't complete a particular assignment. Don't assign high-stake tests on a new platform. Be sensitive to the additional responsibilities students may be expected to assume, like taking care of younger siblings. I think I'm not explaining this because I've covered it in the previous slides. Decide what students really need to know and prioritize that. So only what they need to know. Don't demand perfection of yourself. So this is a new time. We are learning also. Moreover, we are English teachers. We might be poor in IT. However, because of the demand of the time, we have to exploit this opportunity. So we also need to update. So never hesitate for doing that. Take this disruption as a learning opportunity. So if we take this as opportunity, then only we can learn, or then only it can be very, very fruitful. It suddenly started raining heavily here. I don't know whether the sound disturbs you or not. Share your story. Tell students how your life has been disrupted by coronavirus. I mean, you are also a human being. I mean, there can be a lot of problems because of this pandemic in your life also. So try to share that, And my experience is that when you start sharing it, they will also come up and share up their stories. And this way, we can create a sense of togetherness and a community. Treat the first online meeting as a registration only, because on the first day, you can't do many things. That's why don't introduce jargons or very difficult lecture or difficult work, difficult fiction or difficult or complex poetry on the very first day. So start with a very simple one. Know your limitation. You are not automations that are able to spew data and facts regardless of the circumstances. And everyone has a story to tell. So be a human being rather than a perfectionist. As far as possible, offer support and resources. Many of your students are dealing with depression and anxiety right now. So this is the case of Nepal, though the mortality rate is not so high. But the case of Brazil or Italy or USA could be far different. Let students know you are there for them. Even if you can't meet in person, can provide a huge comfort. Make them believe that you are a safe person to talk to. Though you are not a counselor, still, if you are sympathetic to them, then they can trust you and share their problems. Share the resources, e-books and many e-resources. If possible, food and accommodation also, if the students reside near to you. Give them clear, concise, and reliable information. Create opportunities for students to process the moment. Try to link not only your stories, but also the books that is related to this pandemic. As the previous resource person shared, Albert Camus' play. So you can share similar texts which can be more interesting and relevant in this pandemic. Share John Steinbeck's Canary Row, which features an influenza epidemic like coronavirus. Similarly, recently I have read Dean Koontz' The Eyes of Darkness and Sylvia Brownie's End of Days. These are the masterpieces. You will be amazed. I mean, these writers predicted about such virus decades back. Encourage students talking about how that fictional outbreak compared to the current one. Play and give a case with recorded video prompt and ask students to record their responses. So with video prompts also, you can engage students to reveal their stories. Approaching the pandemic this way, looking at its context and legacy, gives them a bit of distance to reflect. So this will definitely encourage them to reflect their own sufferings, their own experiences. And don't forget about students with different abilities. Should not say disabilities, that's not friendly, not very inclusive language. So with the shift of online learning, some students will require different accommodations than they had in the face-to-face class. I mean, for example, blind students or students having hearing problem might have, might have to face different challenges while taking online classes. So plan about those students too. Start captioning the videos. This is one of the solutions. Make sure that any material you post online is an accessible format for a screen reader. So try to think about differently able students too. And assign self-care and moderate. And this is difficult time, most stressful time in the history. So start a lecture with a mindful moment. Share a meditation exercise with your students. I know India is very much famous for this meditation and yoga exercises. So you have that asset, valuable assets. So you can utilize those with your students also. Make them do one thing a week to prioritize themselves and report back what it was. And take care of yourself. You also matter, right? So if you are strong, if you are healthy, then only you can help others. So please think about that. Take a break, take a walk, and practice self-compassion. And that will help you to become a better person, and that will enable you to understand their students from their level. So my conclusions, try to be more inclusive in online class. Then while you can attract the students, otherwise you will also fail the students. Most of the students, like elite colleges, elite universities of USA do, right? Because of their tight schedules and many rigorous deadlines, most of the students, mainly poor and working, fail to attend the classes and pass the exams. So that is the case of the USA, and our countries are more horrible. I mean, the condition is more horrible. Survey students about tools and platforms. Co-construct your class. Don't favor synchronous approaches, but adopt asynchronous one. Go low-tech mobile technology, mobile-friendly technology. Even radio, FM stations and TV stations can be exploited for this period. Share your story, offer support and resources, create opportunities for students. Don't forget about students with different abilities. Assign self-care and moderate. I hope this deadly natural disaster, the first time in my life, will come to an end soon. I believe this cannot last for indefinite time. We shall overcome it in near future. We learn from the nature that the world is the place to live in peace and with friendship to all beings. And we will meet very soon. Thank you very, very much for having me here. Wishing you a wonderful day. And if you have any questions, I'd love to answer those. Thank you once again for having me here. Over to